girls, grab your beers.
Hey everybody, this is Charlie from Anthrax, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
This is Mark Metcalf, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio.
You are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio. Yes, Kato Kalin listens to this all the time.
Welcome to today's Boondoggle. Now, here's your host.
I am Monty Heath, so one Heath, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
Hey, what's up? It's John from Skillet, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle on Domain Cleveland Radio.
Fasten your seatbelts.
What's going on, everybody? It's Bill Bailey with today's Boondoggle. And real quick housekeeping note, if you're watching us on YouTube or BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey, please hit that follow and subscribe button. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple, Google, whatever podcast platform, please hit that follow and subscribe button so we can continue to bring you conversations like the one that I'm bringing you today. It's that spooky time of the year we're entering, so we're going to talk about some spooky stuff. But I have my friend Lisa Tillman on with us, and
hello.
Brittany will be joining us as we get into the spooky stuff. But Lisa is also a member of our armed forces, so I'd like to start off with with some of those questions with you. So do you remember originally what you wanted to be when you grew up?
I wanted to work with animals. I remember that because my mom was a vet tech, my whole growing up. But then I realized as I got older, I wasn't too sure I would be able to deal with animals if they got sick. So it was a little sad. So around high school, maybe I was 16, 17. I wanted to join the military. I knew I wanted to go. I wasn't sure what branch. I did junior ROTC. I did, what do you call it? I can't remember the name of it. Civil Air Patrol. I did that. And I flew up in a Cessna plane, and instantly I knew I was military, and I think it's going to be the Air Force. And I never stopped since then. And then in my yearbook, I actually wrote one of my goals was to join the Air Force and be stationed in Florida.
Awesome.
So I did that.
What do you remember exactly? What was the thing that kind of set that in motion for you? Inspired you to serve your country?
To join, yes. Number one, my brother was in the military. He was in the Army. He joined right after 9/11. So he was really inspiring. And then I waited a little bit until after graduation. I almost signed up, but something just held me back to stay with, my family. So I joined when I was 25, and it kind of just one day I just woke up and my friends, I kind of did a little look around, and I was losing friends, and I had lost my friend to a drug overdose. And I never was into drugs or anything like that whatsoever, but I just didn't want to go down that path of partying and hanging out and losing friends and stuff. So I just woke up one day and told my mom I was joining the Air Force, and she looked at me and she's like, "No, you're not." And I was like, "Bet." And then I joined. I did it to prove my mom wrong too, but she did it on purpose.
Yeah, gotcha. And then during your time signing up and then boot camp and some of your experience that you've had so far in, what are some of the oddest things that you experienced in your time in the military?
Oddest thing. Oh my gosh, it's been 15 years. That's a lot. Odd. Okay. A lot of military units deploy together, right? They always have a big unit, whether it be 30 of them or 250 of them deploying over to the Middle East. I actually single deployed every single time I went over there. So the very first time, I did not know what to expect. They can give you briefings upon briefings, right, and get you ready. But until you experience it, it was a little nerve-wracking. But I'm a thrill seeker, I guess. So I kind of just got on the plane and just, I just went over there. That was a little intimidating. It was from my first duty station in Cocoa Beach, Florida. And then I've never deployed with a unit. So that was a little odd, but I don't really know. Trying like the meats over, I don't eat meat anymore, but the meats over in the Middle East, that was a little weird to me.
Yeah.
'Cause if you're O6, your commander, your colonel's like, oh, I made this on the grill, and of course you're in the Middle East, and that's like gold, right?
Yeah.
It's special. He's like, here you go, Airman Tillman, try this, and I was thinking that in my head, but I was like, sure, sir, thanks. And it tasted like sandpaper. It was gross. But I don't know. That's kind of, I don't know about odd. I don't know.
And what about your favorite place to be deployed?
Well, I've been over in Qatar, and that would have to be my favorite place because it's not a hostile environment, but we are still, watching our backs 24/7. Of course, you always have to. And I've met some really amazing people over there, the workers over there and military, all branches and stuff like that. I've just reconnected. I actually, my mentor now in the Air Force, I met him in 2011 when I was deployed in Qatar, and then I redeployed back in 2019. And we ran into each other at the same base, same place, everything. And now he's my mentor. So that's kind of how that happened. I hadn't seen him in like 7-8 years. And then thousands of miles away, we ran into each other the same place. So that would have to be it. Yeah.
And then, like I've talked with many other fellow veterans, and it seems like, once you have that bond, it don't matter how long you've been separated. As soon as you run into each other again, it's like it was only yesterday,
Absolutely. Nothing changes but time.
Yeah. And then, like, although you're still currently serving, like, do you have like a pet peeve with, culture and society today from what you've, from your time in service?
Just as everything, things change. And really, pretty much we can't really talk about it. But just talking to somebody when I joined when I was young, you know what I mean? Things were changing to that older person that had been in the military for 15 years. So now I'm that old person. I'm like, oh man, we have to adapt and adjust and move on, right? So being in my career field that I'm in right now, I definitely have to adapt to society and their ways and make sure that I'm doing it correctly. It's just all part of the job and the career that I chose. So they teach us stuff like that when we go to school and classes for recruiting and stuff like that. So it was a little difficult maybe in the beginning, but I have to remember too, I was young once, and it was different. It was different for us back in the day too. They don't throw beds and scream F-bombs anymore. It's just not a thing.
Exactly. And then, what is something that you feel like, when you're long out of the military, what is something that you feel like you'll always carry with you from your time of service?
Honestly, that's a really good question. I would have to say loyalty. Like no matter what, it's so weird. If I'm sitting in a room and nobody's wearing a uniform or anything like that, I can always spot out somebody that's military if they're military. You know what I mean? Like, and you can just literally walk up to them and talk to them, So I honestly, loyalty, friendship, and family. Don't take your family for granted. I was gone for 15 years and I had to, I asked my mom if she wanted me to come back to Ohio and apply for this job. And she said, absolutely. Because I've been gone for 15 years. I've missed a lot.
Yeah.
So, you know, being really close to my family is something that military being away and, experiencing all that great stuff, it made me realize that your family is like most important. So
Yeah,
that's
you missed so much during our time serving and
yeah.
deployed. And it's like, I was just visiting my mom earlier before I, came home for this interview, and been helping her out a lot. She's up there now. My dad passed a few years ago, and it's just like, enjoying these moments, with them, because it's
Yeah.
going to be a morning I wake up and they're no longer there, like my dad.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, it just teaches us, like we're young and we like to explore and have fun and do all this other stuff, but as you get older and if you serve in the military or if you travel for your job or something, I just feel that 15 years goes by in a blink. And
oh yeah,
then some family members aren't there anymore and you're just like, oh man, that's the sacrifice and I signed up for it. You did, we signed up for it, but at the end of the day, it just makes you appreciate it more. You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. And then what is one of your greatest hopes that you have for our country that you've been willing to take that oath and give your life for?
Honestly, that's a good one. What is my greatest hope? That we can all get along together. No matter where you came from, no matter what you look like. No, no arguing on this side of the fence or that side of the fence. That's a big hope and dream, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's a really big one, and it would help our society and our country and other countries too. Like, just take care of each other. I was just talking to a friend the other day, and some people may not agree with me, and that's okay. But I think everybody should serve 4 to 6 years in the military.
oh yeah,
Only because if you wake up and a bomb's going over, a gun's in your face, and they're coming after your buddy that's next to you, or 10 cots down or something, you're not going to care what they look like or who they are or where they came from. That
yep,
person is your person, right? So you protect.
yeah,
I just hope one day we can wake up and we all get along.
yeah. I think that's what that's something we all share. It's just like there's no either side of the fence don't matter. We're people on either side, and we're Americans, and we all bleed the same, man. We don't if we're shutting each other down, we can't come to the table and have a conversation. Like I know I'm 50 years old, I could still learn so much from like these younger people coming up, like you said,
Right.
um,
Yeah.
they can teach me, and then hopefully I can pass some stuff down, like, all right, don't do this because I really screwed the pooch when I did this. Maybe you can avoid
Exactly.
that.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
But and so like one of the other things that we run into a lot, and I know it's been a passion of yours as well, but what can we do you feel that we can do to break the stigma of PTSD and mental health with our service members?
Honestly, I really just feel, we could be more involved, I suppose, in the military and outside the military. Don't lose that connection when that person separates or leaves the military, right? Always, we do have mental health in the military, as you know. Um, but I lost one of my best friends too. He didn't commit suicide, but he ended up passing away because he just, I feel that he needed to talk to somebody, right? And he did talk to me, but he didn't give me the full extent because he knew how I am. So I wasn't well aware. I look at the signs now, but he was trying to go get help from the VA. And the VA gets a bad rep in a lot of places. I
Yeah,
can't speak highly for the Parma VA here in Ohio. They're phenomenal. Like, they are amazing. When I got out for 2 years, I was going to them, and just they took really good care of me. But I really feel honestly, society's doing a good job of it. But going back to what I was saying, he was calling the VA. He was trying to get help with things that he was dealing with physically and mentally. And he kept messaging me and just saying they just want to give me pills. That's all
Yeah.
they want to do. They don't want to talk to me. They don't want to figure out what's going on. Why do I have this pain? I just want to talk to somebody, and they just keep giving me pills. And I don't want to be prescribed pills. I want to figure out what's going on with my body and me. Um, I think we could try to help, people with PTSD with other ways than just prescribing them medication. And
Yeah.
that's just
I
my
agree.
belief. Whether it be camps or whatever, doing something as a group together, I think that would probably be the better alternative versus just handing them out drugs. Because then in turn, guess what happens? They turn into drugs and they go on the streets. Do you know how many veterans we have on the streets that have PTSD?
Yeah.
I don't want to even fathom it,
Yeah. And yeah, and I can relate to that when I first got out back from my deployment, but thankfully, like you said, the Parma VA, the VA in general is trying to come a long way, but Parma's been great, and they now are taking this whole health approach, which is like more like holistic type stuff too. Like, how can we help you with this? What are you lacking spiritually? What are you lacking physically? What are you lacking? We're doing more breathing and meditating, and they're actually like approving, like, I mean, chiropractic work might not seem like a big deal, but it's huge for the VA to finally be covering stuff like that. And
Wow.
like acupuncture and Reiki and stuff or whatever. I think I'm
That's
pronouncing
such
it
great
correctly.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Like Brittany and I, we are fully, huge supporters of that stuff. So that is great that the VA is getting involved in stuff like that. That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it's still, there's still so much more that it can offer, but we're headed in the right direction.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
Stuff. So I'm more into like the same, like I did a lot of my healing outside of the VA out of pocket, but I'm more like, I think we have that in common as well, that more holistic approach. Like, how can I, I would do float tanks and, go on recreational therapy trips and stuff like that, and
Well, that's
but
cool they
yeah.
have that stuff out there. You could potentially be helping somebody right now, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know a bunch of that stuff. I had no
Yeah.
clue.
Yeah, and that's another reason why, like, I mean, this podcast for me has been therapy for me and my anxiety, social anxiety, and self just feeling more confident talking with people. Like, I mean, we'll start getting into the music thing in a little bit, but I mean, I don't know if you kind of knew my history in the music scene, promoting bands and booking shows and stuff. And I got, really heavily involved in that lifestyle with drinking and partying. And, now I'm 14 years sober, but it took a while for me to get to a place where it's like, how can I relate to people without that social lubricant, without that crutch I had, and doing all the things that I've mentioned, and doing this helps me in my healing. And I'm hoping, like you said, that people that listen learn other ways of healing as well, and what to seek and what to look into. So that's why I love having these conversations.
Yeah, well, that's great. But by the way, congratulations on 14 years, man. That's huge. That's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, and I still go to shows and rock out. I've been to yours.
Yeah, you have.
I down some waters. It's great.
There's nothing wrong with that. Have you ever seen the Death Waters they have out now?
Yeah.
I think some bars sell those, kind of like to help the sober community kind of feel a little bit more, so people don't pressure you to drink or whatever. So it kind of looks in the dark like you're drinking a beer, and like, but drinking water, you know what I mean? So I think that's pretty cool that they came out with that can.
Yeah, it's cool. Now, speaking of music, like let's go back and talk about, I mean, obviously a lot of us, especially, growing up, we're big music fans, and then you go into the military and you always have to have like when you're going on mission or you need your distractions, you got your go-to and you're in the iPod back in the day and all that stuff. But like,
Oh yeah.
what were some of the bands that kind of caught your attention early on and pulled you into becoming a fan of music, and then eventually, getting involved in our music scene?
Well, I would say way back in the day, so the one that's always carried me through and through is going to be Korn, like 1000%. Since I was young teen, all the way to deployments, carrying me through my 2 workouts a day in deployments, coming home. It would be Korn. Other ones, Strange Music. So Tech Nine and his whole crew. They would send us care packages and albums and clothes and all kinds of soaps and chapsticks. Travis, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Strange Music, but his CEO, his wife, Dawn, she is absolutely amazing. She supports the troops. They sponsored my very first marathon I ever ran. And then they send us care packages over there. So she would just, boxes of things to send to us. And that's cool. Like, especially, I've worked with them, but like I had a lot of friends that were troops that were Army, different, branches. And they were like, no way. Are you serious? Like, this is so cool. Just to, bring that music and that joy to those people that are missing their families and the births of their kids. And, some are working in hostile work, or hostile environments out there, just to kind of put my music connection with my military family together. Strange Music has been a really big part of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, like when I was deployed, it was like, a lot of the local venues that I would book at, like, Peabody's was around back then, and they sent me a care package. Chris Zitterbart and them sent me a bunch of stuff. So I was passing around Peabody shirts and Pirates Cove shirts to the guys
so cool.
over there.
They just don't know what part of history they got.
Yeah, exactly. And then, good friends with the Hatebreed camp, and Jamie Josta had his record label, and he would send us a bunch of CDs that I'd pass around, and everybody was just like happy to get whatever they could, any kind of distractions. I got to sit down like around with the group with a little portable DVD player. My buddy Steve Egg sent me Uncle Scratch Gospel Revival live footage and Schnauzer,
Wow.
And these dudes are just like, what the hell's in the water in Cleveland? This is just like whack,
I just don't know.
Yeah. But then one of my guys that became like a brother to me during deployment, he's just like, dude, I'm flying up to Cleveland for your welcome home party. I got to experience this myself. So
that's so awesome. Cool.
Yeah. And then, speaking of that, it's like we have a lot of mutual friends in the music scene, but what was some of your inspiration when you started putting together your benefit shows?
So I have really, really good friends, like I said, Jeff Hatrix, he's a really cool dude. You were there when he played the first Music Meltdown, in Cleveland. He was very, very, he's a very big supporter of the military. Oh, yeah. So when I asked him, we're friends because Tommy Church is one of my best friends. He said, absolutely. He didn't even hesitate. You know what I mean? So I've known those guys. I've known all those guys since I was a teenager. You know what I mean? Like all of the Mushroom Head camp. So, having Jeff up there doing that very first show was an honor. Amazing. He's a legend. You know what I mean? Tommy Church, Ian, like all of them. That's history. That's Cleveland's history of metal. So having them up there and them being my friends too, like all together, and then seeing fans and friends and family like watch them all for a good cause. It was just awesome. But I started my whole music career per se back in, I can't even remember, maybe 99, 2000. Are you familiar? You know Chris Bundy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were street team promoters together for Peabody's. And then that's where he kind of like went that way. I went this way, and then I got older and I got into the military. So like we were working together. It was pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see him where he's at nowadays, today.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But musically, Tommy Church, Jeff, I mean, there's so many. I've met so many wonderful people and bands. You know what I mean? Of course, ICP's their whole crew, and Twisted. It just goes on. The list goes on and on. I mean, they are from Detroit, but they're still part of my history. Why I wanted to do what I wanted to do.
Oh yeah, because I mean, when they were starting out, Cleveland was always one of their places they'd come to a lot. So.
Yeah.
We've got a good relationship with them. I remember like at one of my like birthday shows I put on like years ago, like all of a sudden I look and there's like Violent J hanging out, checking out one of the bands, that I had playing. I was just like,
Yeah.
What's up?
Isn't that?
He didn't have the makeup on and stuff. He was just there as a guest hanging out. But it was just like, my dude's like, dude, Violent J's here. I'm like, get the out of here.
They're still rocking it, man. Still this year, they're still out there doing their thing.
Yeah. And then I wanted to ask about like now NFG was the your group or banner or whatever for your shows or whatever. You want to talk about how that came together and what that means?
Yeah, so can you swear on here?
Yeah, this is an adult program.
I was just thinking. So back in I believe it was 2014, I was thinking about doing my own company because I'm doing all this work, running around, doing all of this fun, cool stuff, right? So I was like, why not put a name to it? I was having fun at that point, but still working really hard. So that 2 years, I kind of was just like, should I do it? I'm not really sure what I'm doing. And then I put my business cap on and I was like, okay, it was 2016 2016 is when I created NFG, got an LLC. And I was working with a bunch of psychopathic people, Magic Ninja Entertainment people, just kind of managing them behind the scenes. It's kind of like where I like to stay. Yeah. I don't like to go up on
stage. For the record,
Psychopathic
Records, for the audience out there that might not be familiar, not just some psychopathic people, although we can be.
Yeah, Psychopathic Records, my bad. So I created my LLC and then just started booking shows and throwing shows. And then I was a manager of the Grimy Ones and then 1031. I'm not sure if you're too familiar with them. They both have disbanded since we all worked together. Everything is great.
We're all Grimy Ones was on, I think, that same bill with Jeff.
Oh, they were. Yep. They sure were. Yeah. I'm still good friends with everybody in the groups. You know what I mean? We're still amazing. We still stay in contact almost every other day. But fast forward, I went to a deployment. That year deployment I went to, it's 2019 at this point. I come home and then I'm managing D-Ware. He was once part of the Wolf Hunters. They were on the bill with Jeff as the first year. I also Boob J. He's a hip hop rap, amazing artist. Cole Sadistic, so he was in 1031. And then one day I just messaged him. I'm like, man, you need to get back up on the stage. And he was just highly doubting himself. And I'm like, listen, you have something, you have a potential. So it was kind of like in the shadows, like hiding away, from it, afraid to go back to it because 1031 stuff that happened. But he came out and he came full throttle. And then it's just been awesome with all of them so far. You know what I mean? I also have my friend Joy like co-managing because I'm super busy, as Brittany she'll say yes, because the military has me 98% of the time. So running businesses is a little bit difficult. I'm just trying to retire in 5 years. But so just I put on so many shows. We've went to Michigan, we've went to Illinois, we've went to we've done tons of shows here in Ohio. And the guys are just amazing. At first I kind of had to like work with them and hey guys, this is how it works. And then it's just like they turned into their own butterflies and they're like, okay, we got it. I just take care of their background stuff like paperwork, payments, lodging, stuff like that. Just to make sure everything runs smooth. When they get there, they play, they perform, they do their job, and everything's good to go. But I couldn't be more thankful to work with such awesome artists, for sure.
Awesome. And yeah, I think it's about time we bring Brittany in here because I feel like she should have been doing like sign language down there, like the little interpreter
She's
down in
just
the
down
corner.
there looking pretty,
Just hanging out.
like.
But let's talk about like first like how you two met. Because I think you were sharing a little bit that she worked the base with you or something. Is that how you guys originally met or no?
No. She works at Wright Patterson Air Force Base, which
Okay.
kind of plays a big part in our start of our company. But you can go ahead if you want to, Brittany, unless you want me to.
Oh, I don't know. It doesn't matter. So the way we met is kind of crazy. So our story, I moved to Ohio about a year ago. And then Lisa moved to Ohio very shortly after that, but we both worked for a paranormal event company. It's kind of funny how we both moved to Ohio and then our paths crossed at a location that we now feel like we live at. It's one of our favorite locations, Indiana State Sanatorium. And we talk about it all the time, how we actually met less than a year ago. We met, what did we say, last November at Indiana State. We did some investigations together, literally one investigation. And then the next investigation, we realized that my house was halfway for Lisa to get there. So she drove 3.5 hours to my house and I would drive 3.5 to Indiana State Sanatorium. But then we started riding together and it just felt like we had this instant connection and we were laughing about it the other day. So we met in November. We came up with the idea for Beyond the Shadows at Indiana State Sanatorium. And we decided to create our LLC, Beyond the Shadows LLC, in February. So we had only known each other a few months, but had this crazy connection where we were like, we know that we're going to do big things. We agree on so many things, whether it's in our personal life or investigating. And here we are coming up on a year of knowing each other, and I feel like we've came so far. Like Lisa is the person that I tell her all the time, she's my ride or die,
Nice.
She's my ride or die.
And then like let's go back to like early like what were some of your earliest like kind of like what pulled you into the paranormal? Like I know as a kid, for me, it was just like, I'd always like the spooky shows. They had like In Search Of, I'm dating myself, like Leonard Nimoy In Search Of, and then you get the Time Life book set, with like all like the UFOs and aliens and haunted places and whatever.
Are You Afraid of the Dark? You remember that book?
Yeah.
Are You Afraid of the Dark, or the movie or whatever, the shows? Yeah. Those were so cool. For me, it was just I remember as a little kid, I would see the shadow person in my closet with red eyes. And then I wasn't really too scared. You know what I mean? Of course, I've traveled the world all over the place, and I can see things, I can feel things. I started investigating years ago. Tommy Church and I we kind of started this thing called LTTV, and then I flipped that into Beyond the Shadows, because Tommy's busy and he lives far away and he has kids that he needs to be with and his family. So we started during COVID. He came out to Kansas. We got the equipment, we got the cameras, and we went to so many haunted locations, and he is hilarious to go to investigate with. Him.
Yeah.
He was very animated and very, very fun to investigate with. So, like I said, early age kid, I kind of just dealt with it and hearing things and seeing things. And then until COVID hit, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to do this because it sat my ass down, and I had some time to do some things that I really love to do. And that was one of them. And then I met Brittany.
So how about you, Brittany? Like what kind of pulled you in as a
For me, my mom has always been huge into horror, Halloween, spooky things, all that. Even today, I was talking to her. She's decorating for Halloween today. At least part of her yard. Yeah, yeah. So she's always been interested, and then growing up, like I was a military brat. My mom was in the Air Force, so we moved all over. So I got to hear all about the history of the different places that we've lived, and a lot of base housing is old, and of course it's a military base, so weird things happen. And my mom always kind of had these weird coincidences, like a dog came onto our property one time, and she decided to call it Buddy, and we kept it until we found its owner, and its owner saw it in the yard and came over, and it turns out the dog's name was Buddy. So weird things like that would happen. And then again, this is another thing about me and Lisa, how the way we kind of like got into things lines up so oddly. I had started investigating, doing some public investigations, and then when COVID hit, I decided to join a team. I lived in Virginia at the time, and I decided to join a team down in Richmond, Virginia. And that kind of skyrocketed my paranormal journey, where I really got into the scene and getting to know different people, and it all led us here.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And then like what would you say some of the, like, for any people out there that are like interested in doing some more of this, what type of like training goes into being like a real good paranormal investigator? Like, I mean, it sounds like you both have that, like, that like that intuition, or that what's the word I'm looking for?
I know
Just
what
that,
you're. Yeah,
yeah,
um,
the inner sense, the sixth sense, or
there we
whatever,
go.
type
I
thing. Yeah,
couldn't think of it.
you know.
Yeah.
But
Training, I guess, like, I mean, we haven't really talked about this much, but like, we could even, honestly, like, even us, both of us, we had training at the really big event company that we worked for, and you have to go through like processes and steps to kind of move to the next phase and then become an actual investigator for that company. I don't know if there's other companies out there like that. I would say for people that are kind of out there and they're interested, Brittany and I, our company is based on a bunch of things, but if you're brand new and you come to one of our investigations, we're going to make you feel like you can ask any questions, right? Like, we are going to, the way that we run it is, she's going to have one really hot spot, I'm going to have one really hot spot. She's going to have her equipment, I'm going to have my equipment. We're going to break it down for you or anybody, the group, and let you know what this piece of equipment does, how you use it, what to be aware of, be aware about your surroundings and how you feel. Like, we kind of really break it down to the group as a whole versus, singling somebody out or whatever. Because we do have people that are experienced, paranormal investigators that are going to come to our events. They're going to know what to do, but they kind of know, it's kind of just like, okay, well, they have to show this person. It's just what we do as a community. They're very nice people. And if you have questions, you can ask somebody in your group. But we will teach people like I said, at our events, we'll teach you how to use things. And we always have people come ask us questions because they feel like they're comfortable coming up to us and asking us.
Yeah.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I feel like a big thing is for people just starting out is that you don't need to have the fancy equipment. You don't need to go out and buy, REM pods and cameras and the fanciest recorder out there, or all of that stuff. You don't need that. Your body is the greatest tool that you have, and I think that of course, we try to use a scientific approach, as scientific as we can get with the tools that we have. But I think a lot of people second guess themselves during investigations. And we've learned that trust your gut, trust what your body is telling you. Most of the time,
Yeah.
we tell each other that we feel absolutely crazy during
Bill.
investigations. Yeah, but we've learned, if you see something, say it. If you hear something, say it. Whether you think it was in your mind or not, say it, because you never know what someone else is hearing or seeing. And I think that those experiences, those personal experiences that you have, like with your body,
Bill.
are way cooler than anything that I could get with a piece of equipment. Like equipment going off is really amazing, it truly is, but those personal experiences where you can feel something, where you see something. We just heard a whistle over the weekend and no one was like there. Those instances are amazing. So you don't need the fancy equipment. It's easy to go to places legally, to get owner permission and get into places, and just go and be patient and just sit there. We often just sit and laugh and joke around and end up hearing things and seeing things and things interact with us. So
Yeah, I was gonna say too, like just exactly what you were saying about like trusting your gut and listening to your body. Part of my my healing journey with my my PTSD and and being in recovery and stuff like that is to take the time. Like we're always, there's so much that distracts us in life every day.
Exactly.
So learning to like stop and meditate and like it's like I would numb out by eating certain foods, and then it's just like it feel good for that dopamine rush at that instant, but like a little bit later I'd feel like garbage, but and so being on this healing journey, it's been like, dude, listen to your body. If your body's telling you don't eat it, then don't eat it. If you're feeling bad, like, so it's like the same thing. It's like we get a chance to stop, turn everything else off, and just like kind of like feel. And I think everybody's capable of it when we're when we take the time to like breathe, the meditation, stuff like that, and then you go into these places where it's like, we're all energy, and there's some energy going on at these places, some intense energy, and that's how you feel it, by turning everything else off and being a part of it. But yeah, you guys, have been in tune pretty much with this world. Share like some of your experiences. Where's some of the places that you've been to where you feel like you've really felt like without even the equipment and stuff like that, like we were just talking about within yourself, in your body?
Oh man. We've been to a lot of places. I'll say it first and foremost, and I'm sure she'll probably agree. It's Indiana State Sanatorium by far. I don't need. I'm kind of like you said. I like using my body. I'll walk in a place like that that's huge with 2 cat balls and a mag light and myself. Like I and my camera, of course. I have to record everything. I have to record it. If I didn't record it, it didn't happen. Like it's it's how it is. But yeah. Indiana State Sanatorium, Brittany, of course. Yeah. We literally just kind of go walk around and kind of clear it out when we get there. And we instantly, you'll hear us. It's like natural to us. Oh yeah, this is heavy tonight, or I feel a little happy, and it's like we don't even realize we're saying it to each other when we're walking up the stairs or we're walking down the nurse's hallway. You know what I mean? What do you think, Brittany?
I definitely think Indiana State Sanatorium. I think Fairfield is another place for us that we feel the different energies, the different floors feel so different. I love the places that we go multiple times and then we can tell the difference in the energies. So I think ISS Fairfield. Where else have we been? I've only been to Edinburgh Manor once.
Edinburgh Manor.
And Lisa did not tell me anything. I didn't know any of the history about the place. I had no idea what happened there. And like walking through, I was like, what are we doing right now? And we were in a room that was a kid's room. It was obviously a kid's room. And I was like, it is so comfortable in here. But when I walked out into the hallway, I like felt sick. I literally, the first time I ever like ran back into a room, because we're in dark places all the time. I went there without a flashlight, like a dummy.
We got it on
Yeah. And something made a piece of equipment go off and like ran towards me and scared me. And I ran back into the room and I was like, what is this place, Lisa? Where did you bring me?
That was funny. I'm sorry. Let's see where else. I don't know. We went to Octagon Hall this past. That place was insane. I can't even. what was it? We were there for 10 minutes maybe after we got a little briefing
Yeah.
of what happened there. And the gentleman that gave us the briefing or the history tour, whatever, the little rundown, he left. For some reason in my mind, he was still there. I don't know why. This didn't freak me out. We were there for our friend Anne's birthday. And we're all standing there together, like in a circle in the dining room. And all of a sudden you hear a whistle. It's like, doo, 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 doo. And I was like, oh, that was just him in my mind. And then I stopped because we were all talking. And I was like, did you guys hear that whistling? Like maybe a minute later, like out of the blue. And they're like, yeah. And I was like, whoa. Why didn't anybody say anything? We're all investigators, right? So we're just used to hearing
Yeah.
knocks and yells and whistles. Like, when did that become normal? Like,
Right? I didn't even think twice about it. I was just like, oh, a whistle, cool. And then I was like, you said it, and I was like, no one's upstairs.
I thought it was the owner or whatever. And then you go outside. I went out like an hour later, and there was this pathway that had a sign on it that said the people that used to work there would whistle or something like that when they were working. I can't remember specifically what it said, but
I
it
think
was
it
a
was like they would
sign
whistle when
about
they bring
whistling.
food. Yeah.
Yeah, whistle when they were bringing food, and we were talking about eating food
Yeah.
because it was my friend's
Wow.
birthday. It was crazy. That was whoa. It was the energy there was it was pretty crazy. But I'd have to say yeah, ISS, Billy Creek, which is across the street from Indiana State Sanatorium. Sally House, Tommy Church was there with me. F that place. There's somebody angry there. I
Yeah,
ran
I was
out.
gonna ask if there has there been any places where you're just like, all right, I'm out. I'm not coming back here.
I said that about the Sally House because I did run out of it. I ran. Church was like, I saw you and then I didn't. You were gone. You were up the road, Panay. And I was like, I was terrified. And I have it on video too. I was like, I was out of my mind terrified. But I would love to have Brittany go there with me and redo it again. It took me a few years. It's yeah. I would trust it if she came with me.
What about you, Brittany? Any places that you've really not
No, I
wanted
would say out of me and Lisa, I'm the one that's always like, let's go back and figure it out. She's always like, I'm not going back in there. That's not happening.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, no, we have to. We have to go debunk it. We've got to go ask questions. We've got to go figure out what's happening. And she's like, no,
No.
I hate you. I'm not doing
Tell
that.
him
But
what happened last time. This is why.
we were at Indiana State Sanatorium, and I got there before her. And what?
It was like a month ago, right?
Yeah, no, it wasn't that long ago. It was like a month ago. It was just us. It was just her and I on this big. This place used to be a tuberculosis hospital. It was self-sustaining, so it's a huge place, multiple buildings, and it was just her and I investigating the property. I got there before her and was taking some photos, and I ended up leaving my flashlight. There's a building. It's a 5-story psychiatric building, and I ended up leaving my flashlight there. She got there. She's like, "Hey, I'm here." So of course, I like run down. Then I was like, darn, I forgot my flashlight. So later on, we're doing a live stream and we're in the building. So I'm like, hey, it's dark. Let's go find my flashlight. And she's like, okay, cool. So we're on the 5th floor. We look, nothing. Go down to the 4th floor. And I'm like, hey, there's glass on the floor. Someone had broken one of the like medicine cabinets that would be in a bathroom. It was in the middle of the hallway and the glass was broken. So there's glass on the floor. So I was like, hey, be careful. There's some glass there. Watch where you're stepping. And we were talking about like, oh, we hate how things like that happen. We maybe got like 10 steps and we heard someone stepping on the glass behind us.
Wow.
And I don't even think I looked back. I just remember Lisa being like, go, 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 go. And at that point, I thought that someone had broke in and someone was there. Someone was trespassing. How we ran down 4 flights of stairs without dying, I will never know. I feel like we like float down the stairs or something. Because it's dirty. There's paint chips on there. There's plaster. I don't know how we didn't trip and die. We're not the most graceful people anyway. But we're outside and I'm like, look for flashlights. There's someone in that building. Look for flashlights. There's someone there. Yeah, there we couldn't see any flashlights. We didn't run into anyone. And of course, I was like, she's like, we went like live on Facebook, and she's like, let's go over here, let's go do something else. And I'm like, you do know that later on we're going back there, right? And she's like, no, we're not. We're not going back to the 5-story. And I was like, yes, we are. We're
So
gonna
I
go
was like,
find
that's
out. Yeah,
flashlight.
no,
Okay.
she was literally like, F you. No, we're not doing that. And I was like, we have to. We've got to go debunk it. We've got to go step on that glass, and we've got to see if we can recreate the noise. And of course, she nicknamed it Mirror Man. And I was like, why would you do that? That's not creepy.
And she doesn't like that, but whatever. I don't like going back in places where I felt like a demon. Well, it wasn't a demon. Let me not say that. Where a mirror man was chasing me.
Oh my,
That's
yeah.
not cool. Like, I don't know. Okay, so here's my thing though. I don't like going in the back. I like being in the front. It's a military thing. My friend Ann told me about that. Yeah, like it's like you want to see what's facing you, and if you got your people behind you. I didn't realize that until she told me. Tommy Church left me in the back when I ran out of Sally House. And then I'm always in the back of freaking Brittany. So what happens? Mirror Man is crunching, and I'm thinking that some guy is going to come murder us in a really dark hallway. So, yeah, she wanted me to go back. It was kind of scary.
But we did go back, and we stepped on the glass, and you had to like stomp on it, like stomp and like crush your feet to make the same noise that we heard. And of course, we weren't recording. Of course, we were just looking for my flashlight. And then the funny thing is, my flashlight was actually on that floor. My flashlight, so there was the glass in a room, and then my flashlight was in the next room over, of course.
So you left it when you ran?
Oh yeah.
Like
I had no idea it was there. I had no idea it was there. So I'm flashlightless. She's like using her phone or something. I don't even know. And so don't know how.
There's been like YouTubers, paranormal YouTubers that literally have ran from the same exact floor. And she didn't know this, that have ran from the same exact floor screaming bloody murder. And they said they would not go back up there. So it happened to us and she didn't know.
And then did you guys before you go, you kind of learn the history, right, of the places? So
I go in blind.
Okay. Because I'm just wondering if you've like looked into like, okay, maybe this was this guy, and this horrible thing happened with him, and he's the glass stomper, or whatever.
Right. Yeah, we're familiar with the spirits at Indiana State, though. Again, we didn't feel threatened, and this happens with a lot of paranormal investigators. We didn't feel threatened from a spirit. We felt threatened when we thought it was a human.
Yeah.
Because that place is so large, people do break into it consistently. So we weren't afraid that it was paranormal. We were afraid that the mirror man, who was a real man, flesh and blood, was going to come get us.
Yeah.
It was
somebody dangerous snuck in there.
Yeah, but it wasn't anybody. So they played a trick on us, pretty much.
We do that all the time too. They're like, you guys live here.
Hi.
Let's play practical jokes on you. It's so funny.
Yeah.
We're talking about footsteps. We're talking about voices. We've gotten clear names just on phones. Nothing big, nothing fancy, smancy, whatever. We've gotten, when I took Sadistic Cole out there, we heard one of the doors slam shut. There's shadow people consistently. It's super active. If you ever get a chance to come out there, you need to come out there with us.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, if I get a chance to go out there, I'm going with you guys.
Yeah, they love us, so you're protected, I promise.
Yeah, you guys have got it in with them already. So,
yeah.
But like I've done an overnight with a group of friends at the Mansfield, Ohio State Reformatory, and this is like we'd watch some of the paranormal shows, and I think it was just. I think I was like newly sober, but it was just it was all my friends that I used to party with, and they're into that stuff. So they were all kind of partying, but they also my one buddy Oz had like the dowling rods or whatever, and they're like, so I was in his group, and I'm like, I don't know what these things are. I'm just gonna follow you guys with my camera and a flashlight and see what I feel. And like, I think we were in like the infirmary or whatever, and he was in one of the rooms, and the rods started like kind of like going or whatever. And then there was like a huge group of us, and then they split us up into groups of like 5, you know, and then you go over here, you guys go over here, and whatever. So we were up in the infirmary, and there's metal stairs like going up to the infirmary, and we were up there for a little bit, and Oz was picking up the stuff on the dialing rod, and then I'm over kind of back by the entranceway by the stairs, and I hear like somebody coming up the metal stairs, and I'm like, oh, the other group's on their way up, so we got to swap out or whatever. And I'm like, guys, we're picking up some stuff here. I go out there, there's nobody there. You know, so it was like little things like that I experienced. And then probably the worst place is the House of Wills for me. And I was just there because I'm friends with Eric, who owns it. And I was just like there hanging out with him. But he gave me a little tour, and I was just like, dude, for like, I don't know, I just felt like drained and like something just, I don't want to be here. There's somebody like, something, I just don't want to be here. So I'm like, I'll meet you at your house next time if we're going to hang out. You know, I don't want to come to this one. You know?
We've been there. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. But like, yeah, I'm not like, full on professional. I've just kind of been like, always like, growing up watching horror movies and, The Exorcist and all that stuff. It was always like, I could watch serial killers, well, I mean, it's like I could watch Jason and Michael Myers and all that stuff and kind of be like, all right, cool, these are fun. But whenever it became anything like in the spiritual realm, those are the ones that really freaked me out more. Maybe it was my Catholic upbringing or something like that, but I'm just like, all right, this is like some really evil, scary stuff, and those are the ones that freak me out probably the most. But then, like you said, then the real life, like psychopaths too, that the evil that people can do,
Right. I think that scares me way more, because I have a lot of people that ask me, like, why do you do this? This is crazy. I'm like, why do you walk down the street? That's crazy. There's serial killer. People are way more scary than spirits. And that's what I try to kind of convey that message. Like, we're not there, Brittany and I, again, like, our company's not there to summon demons. We don't particularly use Ouija boards. I'm not comfortable with it.
You're not there reading the Necronomicon and stuff.
Right. We are not there to stir things up. We're not there to do anything bad or taunt the spirits. We're just there to communicate. And we let everybody know that that's our intent. We don't want to go to search demons and the devil and all that. I'm good with that other side. I'm good, but it's cool though. People are way more scary than spirits. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, and like there's a lot of probably those spirits that are they just want to be heard, They just want to be like maybe in the past life they were, like, man, they got a raw deal and they just want their story heard or somebody to acknowledge them anymore, But yeah, the dark shit, yeah, I try and avoid all that stuff too. Like I ain't trying to pick any of that stuff up. And I believe like, even maybe some of the most evil people that we run into that are humans. I mean, I still believe there could be a spiritual thing that they opened up, and allowed in. I'm like big on a lot of that stuff. I know looking back now, with my sobriety, I know when I used to like drink and party, it opened me up to doing a lot of other stuff that I would normally not do. And also could be opening me up to allow other things in me around that time. So,
that is true. Yeah. Thankfully you got where you are today,
Yeah. And it's like the farther you get on like this particular journey too, your eyes get open to more of how like we're intermixed with, what we call our world and the spirit world, and it's just like you guys go respectfully respect them as the beings they were or whatever. You're not trying to rile up,
No.
We'll run into some of the dark stuff, and that's when you jet.
Yep, exactly.
You leave church hanging.
Yeah. It felt so bad.
Now, what was I mean, you shared a little bit about some of the most like haunted experiences that you guys have had, but what are some like happy, like kind of messages or anything you guys might have had, or where you feel like okay, I'm, a good connection or something.
It just happened.
Oh yeah. Oh my.
Ugh.
I
I
feel
think
like
it's
we
the most
connect so much
emotional
with
one.
our emotions. Yeah.
And it was a little boy at the Octagon house. It was very emotional. It was I don't know the full story, so I can't really speak on what happened, because again I go blind, so I don't really
Yeah.
know. But he was a little southern boy. He was 8. He told us he was 8 a few times. He was mistreated because back then people of color were not treated well. And so he was talking to us and playing with us, and he was very sweet, and he kept saying, "Yes, ma'am," just like that. It was very, he was telling his story. And Brittany, if you want to elaborate on it more, uh, he was telling us his story without telling us his story, because he was afraid that somebody was listening to him
Mm.
and he would get reprimanded, and that was terrible. But I still felt good because he opened himself up to us and communicated with us.
Yeah, he felt safe around you guys. You provided a some safety for him.
It was so sad. Yeah, I
And that
felt
was
good about
the
that.
most recent one you guys were just on.
Saturday.
That was Saturday.
Octagon Hall
Wow.
in Kentucky. Yeah, it was emotional, I feel. What else, Brittany? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, because it's got me thinking too. It's just like, so even in this next world or this next life, this poor kid's got to like worry about somebody,
Yeah.
listening or whatever. It's just like, man, when do we
What is the problem?
get a break
I
and get into,
know.
the happily ever after or whatever,
Yeah, and that seems to happen so often. A lot of places that we go that are historical, we do like one thing that we love doing is learning about the history and sharing that with people. And so while
Mhm.
most of the time we go in blind, we tend to go to locations more than once and learn about the history and the people there. And it seems to be a reoccurring theme that whether the person that ran the place or was in charge is still there or not, that doesn't matter. That energy and that fear that those people had is still very real. And
Mm.
it's so sad. It's so incredibly sad.
Yeah,
It's
that was
got me thinking too, like I know on my journey of like dealing with trauma, and like I said, with the PTSD and stuff, you learn that the body will hold on to stuff. You might compartmentalize certain things that have happened in your life, but you store it, and eventually it comes out somehow in your body. So I'm just wondering, like, if we're that powerful, our minds are that powerful, and that energy is that powerful, then like, what are they still experiencing? What kind of trauma are they? Maybe going in there, you're helping provide some healing for them to finally get to the next.
I hope so.
Yeah, like one thing that we love doing, and we say it all the time, like whether I think that pretty much every place is probably haunted, whether they come forward or not. But one thing that I say all the time is whether something wants to interact with us or not, at the end of the day, we're two friends in this historic location just having fun, and
Mhm.
we're laughing and we're joking around and inviting those spirits to come interact with us and hoping one day that they will, because they know that we can provide that safe space. We're not going to when we don't get that interaction, we're not going to start provoking them or challenging them or anything along those lines. We're going to say, hey, if you want to come talk, come talk. And if not, we're going to be over here talking about whatever. We're going to be here with Lisa's dog Braveheart hanging out, or something like that. And I think that gets especially at Indiana State Sanatorium, that's got a lot of spirits to trust us and come forward. And we say every time we're there, we feel something new coming forward just because they're so used to us. I think we provide that consistent, we're not going to be mean to you. You can be mean to us, you can call us names, but
Do
at the end of the
something.
day, that's not they do.
Yeah.
And like I think it's because they know that scares people away because whether they learned that from people or they know, hey, if I, say the demon word, you're gonna leave. And I'm like, go ahead. Say it. Like I'm still here. I'm still here for you. Like,
Mm-hmm. We're not going to give up on you just because
yeah.
we're, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, how some people will like when they have to face the uncomfortable, because, healing is painful, when you really get to the root of a lot of things. And maybe that's just their defense. Like, I don't want to face this, so I'm just going to push you away. We tend to do that, as humans sometimes,
Mhm.
when we don't want to face certain things about ourselves or deal with things, and people put up a mirror to us. We don't want to look at it. We'll tend to push them away. So even in the next, but maybe that, that is what they need to finally move on, It's like they got to face it and deal with it. So, maybe one by one, slowly but surely. Because, I mean, back in those days, I'm sure you weren't at a sanitarium, because you probably didn't get the best treatment,
Yeah.
Like we talk about how far the VA has come and how far it still needs to go. It's like, I'm sure back then it was just like, what was the thing when they would do the, drive a spike up if we kill this part of their brain or whatever,
Yeah.
They did that in Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in West Virginia. They have photos of it. Ugh.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, imagine that the place you're supposed to be going for help and healing is probably causing you more trauma than, whatever you were struggling with back then, because people, we're just ignorant,
Yeah, and learning about the history of a lot of these places, so much tragedy happened there just because of overcrowding and these facilities not being able to take care of the people or the conditions of the building. And it just leads to so much death or sickness or not being able to provide the care that these people truly needed, and things just went downhill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I was gonna say, so you guys, that was your most recent one. It sounds like it was a positive experience, just with that little boy. But what's on the schedule for the future? What's some of the next ones you guys got planned?
We have September 30th, my bad. I'm stuck on October because it's a big month. September 30th, it's the world's largest ghost hunt. So what that is, everybody teams, no matter where, like, I don't know, teams set up and they all go live from locations. You could be in Germany, Ireland, United States, wherever. So there's this website, you can go there. And so we are going to be at Post-Town Elementary on the 30th, and we're going to be live streaming. So everybody's participating in the world's largest ghost hunt. All these teams from everywhere are going to be essentially in this location online, to where you can just go, oh, Beyond the Shadows, boop, Post Town. I'm going to go watch their live. So we're going to conduct a paranormal investigation live. We'll just have our, cameras up, and you guys will be able to see what we're doing and take part virtually in our investigation. So that's the 30th. And then this October 7th and 27th, both are sold out. Correct, Brittany?
Yeah.
Sold out completely. That's our Indiana State Sanatorium investigations. Those are our public ones where people can buy tickets and come out and investigate with us for a few hours. Like how I told you, use the equipment. This is how you do it. And then we let our guests go, and they can investigate all night until 4 a.m. We call it free roam, or they can investigate with us.
Nice.
So sold out, baby.
And then what's the post elementary? I know you usually go in blind, but what's anything you know about that?
So we've
location?
actually been there a few times. We've been there twice. We went there last winter and froze our butts off, but had really cool experiences. Like I used to teach kids, and so of course I loved it. We had the coolest experience where there's this thing called a tripwire, and it lights up. It's a bunch of little pods. They're purple, and then they change different colors when something goes over them. And we were in the lunchroom and we played a bell, and we were like, "Hey, it's time to line up. Lunch is over." Played a bell. Kid you not, this damn tripwire went off like the kids were lining up along the wall. It was so
Wow.
cool. Yeah. But you would think that like, oh, it's a school, I'm just gonna be dealing with like happy little kid spirits. But there's been a lot of tragedy. So before the school was built, there was a train wreck. There are train tracks near the school. There was a train wreck, and several people died instantly. They used the site where the school is as like a medical triage place while they dispatched another train to come help. Total, there was somewhere around 30 something people, I believe, that died total um, during that. So that had happened, and then the school was running until I think the was it 2000s? It was in the early 2000s that it shut
Yeah.
down. Yeah, and during its time, there were several children who got hit by cars outside. There was a girl who fell from the staircase. I believe she didn't pass at the school, but she did pass later. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff like that that happens. That happened, and you also have to remember that at these places, there are so many people coming in and out that you don't know what they bring with them.
Oh yeah.
So there is something at the school, and also you never know the teachers and the staff and all those things. You never know what might be with them. But there's something at the school. Don't know that it's negative or anything along those lines. But the owner has been attacked several times, and it's on video. It's one of the craziest videos I've ever seen. He is sleeping because he used to sleep in what is now the break room of the school where we can set up. He used to sleep there. And on the video, you see what looks like something crawl on his bed. And then
Ugh.
this man, he's not a tiny man. He is a big man, gets drug out of his bed.
No
No
way.
joke.
Is
No
that on
Yeah.
joke.
YouTube or something?
It's
It's
a,
on YouTube.
Oh, I gotta
it's on
find
Yes.
the
that.
security camera too at that. It's not
Yeah.
like he just set up a camera and like,
Yeah,
oh, I'm
no,
just
it was
gonna
just a
film
security
it. This is
camera.
crazy. Yeah. It's so wild, and that's not the only one, trust me.
No.
This
Yeah.
poor
He
man.
has videos, yeah, of so many things that have happened. So there's something there of the
Yeah. Why are they so pissed at him?
right, that's so we were talking to him about it, and he was saying his wife was away at the time, and what did he say? That he thinks that someone had brought something negative into the school, and the spirits were trying to say, "Hey, help us," kind of thing. So, but it's interesting. There's a lot of different energy there, and we have had. I whistled. That's one place where I whistled, and we heard a whistle back.
Oh, I
Um,
forgot about that. The
yeah,
gym.
it is not all happy energy there. The energy changes there. We know that some of the staff there, of course, we're people. We've all got things going on. You know, teachers and
Mhm.
school staff um, aren't exempt to that. We know that there was an alcoholic. One of the staff members was an alcoholic. One of the staff members died in a fire down the street. Different things like that have
Wow.
happened, and plus people's personal daily lives. If you can imagine what trauma they have, the staff had bringing into the school. I think we all kind of leave an energy imprint where we are. So while
Mhm.
there's a lot of happy there, there are definitely sadder energies. And what is very sad about it, I want it to be a very happy place, but what's very sad is we often get, "Where's my mom? I miss my mom. Where's my family?" And it is
Mm,
heartbreaking.
Mhm. Yeah.
wow. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I mean, my most traumatic experience in school back in the day was getting paddled. So, I'm still trying to work that trauma out.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine, like you know, what could pull this big man out, you know, of his, that's
It
pretty
is
crazy.
nuts. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's the sweetest man too.
He
He's
is.
so awesome, and he loves that place. He wants to preserve it, and he's just nothing but
Mhm.
positivity. To see him get pulled like that, you see stuff like that on TV.
Yeah.
You know? And this guy is completely genuine. You know when you know. So it was scary, and he's still there, and he still lives there.
Wow. He still
Yeah.
sleeps there?
Oh yeah, they live there. Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy. He's, maybe he moved though, right? Like that was when they were in a different room, when they lived in a different room.
Yes. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
I think I would be
their
like, if I really want to get some sleep, I'm going to change rooms eventually.
Yeah.
Find the
Yeah.
one with shit don't whip me out of bed.
Yeah. He's a cool
That's
guy though.
wild. So, like we've been going over an hour now. I want to ask you guys a couple of questions that I normally ask guests, and then we'll, wrap up with, how fans can, follow and sign up for future events. But, what are, speaking of school, here's a question I like to ask. What class do you feel should be mandatory before graduating high school today?
I have a bunch. I'm an asshole. English.
Like proper English, right?
I'm finna go to my English class.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. My gosh, she was a school teacher. That's a good question for her.
Yeah, Brittany, what do you got?
I guess before graduating, I think that more life skills should be taught in school. Like we get out of school and don't really know how to write a resume, or heck, I didn't even know how to like sign up for like my electricity and like stuff like that, like taxes, a proper way, like budgeting and things along those lines. I think would be incredible tools, especially as a young adult. Like we all just want to go out and spend all our money. We're not thinking about the future. We're not thinking about saving. So how can we smartly spend our money and still be able to eat? And also, I think learning about different jobs and um, different options, because I think a lot of people think that their only option is to go to college, and it's not really taught that there are a lot of high paying jobs that don't necessarily take that route. So if you don't feel like that's for you, there are a lot of other things out there. So I just think those different life skills and knowing that there are different paths in life, and you're not set to one path. That you're 18 and you're graduating high school. You don't need to have the rest of your life figured out. You don't need to know what you want to do.
Yeah, that's the world's yours. You know what I mean? I on a serious note, I was just kidding. English obviously is always going to be, but like I don't know what they call this, and you guys probably do. But like, I think nowadays the way the world's headed, I think and this probably won't ever happen. We should be able to, or we should have teachers teach kids and students before they graduate how to get their own food, whether it be fishing, whether it be gardening, whether it be they should learn how to build, navigate, stuff like that. Survival.
Basic survivor skills. Yeah.
Yep.
Because you're not going to be there. Might come a time where you can't trust your iPhone to get you out of.
I'm totally guilty. Guilty. Like I need a GPS for everything, and I'm like, one day it's gonna happen. The enemy's gonna take our freaking GPSs. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be like, what do I do? So I think that's I think that would be cool.
Basically starting a campfire. Okay, there was a YouTube video on it. Oh, I can't pull up YouTube. What do I do?
I'd be like, I don't know which way the store is. I just like her, like basic, hers is like, let's guide you through life stuff, like real stuff. Mine would be like, if the shit hit the fan, what are these kids gonna do?
Yep.
you know?
Yep.
I think
I'm
like
with
in
you on
general
that
being
for sure.
self-sufficient, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the internet, we rely on it too much. Guilty. Hello, like same, you know? What are you going to do without it?
Yeah.
Because that's what our next war is pretty much going to be over. It's not going to be boots on ground. It's going to be,
Cyber. Yeah.
yep. We
Yeah.
just
Or
opened up
power grid.
the very first cyber wing in the Air National Guard.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep. And then I'll start with you, Brittany. 3 people who've inspired you and you can credit for making you the person you are today.
Oh gosh. I think the 3 people I would choose are my family. I mean, I wouldn't be who I am without the experiences that my parents have given me, and I have a brother, and we're complete opposites, and he teaches me things every day. And I think that I definitely wouldn't be me without the 3 of them. Going beyond that, I think I wouldn't be me without just music in general. I was big band nerd in school, and I guess my band director at the time in high school is a person that I don't think I'd be on the path I am today if he didn't push me to play specific instruments and to keep on the path that I was on. I think that was important to kind of where I am today. But definitely, my family is huge in that without the sacrifices that they made to for the family, I wouldn't be who I am.
Gotcha. And then how about you, Lisa?
First and foremost, my mother. She's my best friend and my everything. She told me I wouldn't go to the Air Force, and I went. Like, she changed my life. She knew what she was doing, right?
Yeah.
So definitely my mom. Um, Along with, let's see, my best friend that passed away in 2005. That was also me getting out of Cleveland, moving away from that stuff. Taught me a lot of stuff when I was a teenager, growing up into young adulthood. His name was Michael. And then I would have to, man, I can't pick one. I have select friends that have helped me through this period of my life that was very traumatic the last few years. So I'm lumping them into one. I'm cheating.
Okay.
So it's Joy, Devin, Tammy, and Brittany. Because I wouldn't be here today with paranormal stuff. Listen, she holds it down for a lot of things for our business. Like, no joke.
Well,
The
you
way
already know.
the way her brain works scares me. Like,
I mean, we
what the
talk
fuck?
about it all the time. We compliment each other, and you know that I wouldn't. I love that we challenge each other, and you know that you're a person. I wouldn't be who I am today without you. We compliment each other so well. Truthfully, we do. What you I lack sounds like a better word, but
Yeah.
I feel like I challenge you in certain ways based on things that I think or whatever, and
Mhm.
you do the same thing. We're not afraid to challenge each other and say, but hey, what do you think about this, or have you looked at this situation or thing this way instead, and understand each other on that level. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was hard. Why would you? It's hard. Why are people mad at me?
Yeah. No, that's hey, I ask that one all the time. So it's a
Dang it. I don't know.
yeah.
Music was it too. Like, my whole music family, you included.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, it's a whole thing. Military music, family, like, those are okay. Those are the 3 main things, I guess. I don't know. Now I'm gonna be going to sleep thinking, oh my gosh, I said the wrong thing.
Somebody's gonna be pissed when they watch this. No.
Damn it.
But and then I this is a fun one. Takes everybody back. But what was your favorite toy as a child? And Lisa, you can go first.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Nice.
The little green plastic figures cost like $1.99 or 99¢. Those are mine.
You must have enjoyed the setup they had at the Astronomicon last time.
I was in heaven. Yes, I was like, I want to go take a picture, but there was a lot of people, and Twisted came over, and they were all doing like photo ops and stuff. So I was like, okay, yeah, it was cool. It was really cool.
And how about you, Brittany?
That is tough. That's a hard one. I remember so many different things. Does rollerblading count? I remember being super, super, super into rollerblading for what feels like the longest time. I mean, heck, even now, I would still totally go to a roller rink and just get on some rollerblades and have fun.
Hello, we need to do that.
Let's go.
There's got to be a haunted roller rink out there somewhere for
Oh
you
my
guys to
No,
explore.
no. That'd be creepy.
yeah. Oh,
I hear somebody wheeling behind us, but there's
oh
no
my.
We're making it to a music video. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
there you go.
We did shoot a music video out at the Eloise Asylum too. That was cool. It was shot and directed by Church, and it was Jay and Sadistic. That shit was nuts. Yeah, it was really cool.
Nice. And then any message that you have for our military brothers and sisters currently serving overseas?
Yeah. If you need music, let me know, because I know you have those shitty ass trucks that we always have to drive from over there. I have CDs that I can send you if you want music. You know, count down the days if you're guard, if you're active duty, don't. That's so terrible. Active duty, they made me stay there like a month and a half over time. So they'd be like, "Oh, you're going home." No, you're not. But regardless, honestly, you know, everybody, you know, misses you back home, and you know what? You're doing it for the greater good, and we applaud you for that.
And how about you, Brittany?
See, that one takes me back because I feel like I feel like I am not qualified to answer because I haven't
No, you can
served,
tell
but
messages. You have
Yeah.
family
They want to
overseas.
hear from you.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess my big thing is that I know I'm sure that it's easy to feel out of sight, out of mind, but you are on people's mind, and we care about you, your physical and your mental well-being, and we're here for you.
Nice. See, we like to hear that. And then, like, you know, hopefully when you do come home and stuff, like the things that we were talking about earlier, know that there's all these other options out there for you. And, you know, I mean, part of when I was deployed on my last one, like, you know, podcasts, I think were still fairly new back then. But I would listen to, one of my buddies had a podcast, and I would just, like, you know, I'd throw on the headphones, and it was like they would tell stories about things that I was involved with or whatever. And it just felt like being back home. It was such a nice escape. You know, it's like our music can be for us, but also just like hearing stories and hearing people, you know, talking and sharing stories. And that's another reason that that motivated me to do this. You know, that's why I always have, you know, give them a shout out at the end. And, you know, hopefully
That's so awesome.
more are able to pick it up and listen out there, you know?
Yeah.
And, like we were saying, for any of the fans out there, we're heading into the time of year, you know? So if anybody wants to support you guys or jump on board or just follow along for any of these future events, where would you send them?
So we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we have TikTok, we have YouTube. I'm working on our website, so that should be up. I'm planning to have it up within the next week. That'll be beyondtheshadows23.com. But our social media, most of it is Beyond the Shadows 23, I think. So yeah, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, we're all there acting like weirdos, posting creepy things. So
It's fun. Yeah, especially the people overseas. If you're bored, you need to go scroll through our stuff because it's fun and scary.
come watch
Yeah,
our
you sent
bloopers.
me a
You'll see me
couple of
get
the
attacked by a
TikToks.
bat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. We have so much footage though that we need to go over from seriously the past
Oh my
year
gosh.
that we
Yeah.
So there's a lot of content that we have that needs to get out. So if you know an editor that takes something off Brittany's plate.
I'm looking for one myself. You know, I'm a solo act here, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely. I think me and you have talked already. I'd like to definitely join in on one down the line. It's the
Yeah,
beauty
absolutely.
of, being retired from the military. I got a little bit more time on my hands to do things, and both my daughters are now in college and can take care of themselves for the most part. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
we could have to plan a future trip with you guys.
Yeah, we'll share some info with you, whenever, because we are crazy and we pretty much planned our whole year out already next year. But
Awesome.
so
Sounds good.
lots of events and stuff like that. So maybe you can come out to one of ours with guests, and then maybe you can come out with one of ours just solo.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Cool.
All right. Well, hey, I'm glad we were able to do this, Lisa and Brittany. It was awesome having you on board with us and to hear all that. Oh yeah, and real quick too, like, how are you guys with like dates with feeling like different energy? Like, I mean, we got Halloween coming up, and a lot of people, that how's Halloween for you two, other than probably one of your favorite holidays?
Yeah, it's I'm excited this year, particularly because we're gonna figure something out together. But it's what Brittany likes to say, the veil is thin, right? Am I saying that right? Like, it's very thin. So we
Yeah.
have to be careful on what we do. And
Yeah.
because we're used to just doing things normally. And we're gonna have to be careful where we pick to go. But I'm excited to see how it is. I'm a lot into like witchcraft and all that stuff, so I'm very excited for the end of, and then the beginning of, because that's what it's all about, Halloween and new seasons and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see it kind of, like I said, it's the end of something, but it's also a celebration of something that. And I kind of put that in a view of like Brittany and I working together. What is our company going to do for the people out there? And the military stuff I do too. I also put that in perspective as well.
Awesome.
What about you,
Well,
Brittany? What about you?
yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah, no, I love Halloween. I do think that that's a time where the veil is thin. But I feel like that happens so many times a year. Halloween is just a time that it's celebrated, and I don't think that a lot of people realize kind of everything that comes around with that time of year. But I was just talking to someone local about doing an investigation, and she was like, "I want to do it on a time when the veil is thin," and I'm like, okay, well, Halloween's coming up, but also let's look at moon phases, the different phases that the moon is in, and things along those lines. So I do feel like the energy is different. We can always, we're people who always feel energies, but going places on holidays and things along those lines, it's you can feel how the energy changes.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, ladies, thank you so much for being a part of this, and I look forward to following your adventures and hopefully being a part of one down the line. And Lisa, thank you for your continued service to our country. I really appreciate all you do and all the awareness you've raised, continuing in our local community with music and everything as well. Means a lot. And like I said, I look forward to doing what I can to work alongside you both. So.
Yeah. Let me know, man, if you need help with anything, or let's put our brains together. I'd love to work with you. And thanks for doing this, specifically for our military members overseas and stuff like that, because it can get pretty rough out there. So we appreciate you, and thank you for your service as well.
All right. Thank you very much. And thanks again for your time. It's good talking with you.
All right.
Thank
See you later.
you.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.